Gentlemen, welcome. And I think first and foremost, I should say congratulations, considering the race that we're going to look at, for all of your hard work in season one and the victory in the match race. Thank you for joining us. Tom, first question to you. You've grown up with Nathan Outridge. You've raced against him, not just throughout your career, but also as kids. You've also raced with him. How hard was it facing off against him in such a high pressure race?
Yes, obviously, growing up with Nathan Outridge, he's been a good friend and a competitor of mine since we were very young, raced with each other and against each other, competed in the Olympics. He was my roommate at the Olympics. I knew him very, very well, and for sure it was an advantage knowing him like I do. Knowing Nathan and his style, I knew that he's very confident and he likes to back himself. He likes to essentially back himself on the water against anyone. And his style isn't a tight match racing type style. He believes he can pick the wind on the water and sail the boat faster than you can. So leading into that race, we were generally looking at a style, if we're behind, we think he'll give us a bit of room, unlike a tight match racer. And we just had to make sure that we picked the wind on the water as well as him to keep us in the game. And so I guess it narrowed down our options for how we were going to approach that race, and that definitely helped.
Well, talking about the approach from your perspective, Philippe, you'd got unpredictable wind. The weather forecast seemed to be out of the window. The course had moved just before the race, and there'd been a couple of postponements. It was pretty much the nightmare build up to a race from a coach and data analyst perspective.
Yeah, it was not easy, and especially the change of plan and all the spectator around, and a very enthusiastic spectator was staying in the middle of the course, and also the fact that we had a deadline for the start, and we were leading boys at that time, so keeping the boys under pressure, but quite relaxed was quite of a challenge, and so we were chatting on board. But when we had to go, the boys, they were ready, and they were so ready that they were eager to start, that they were a bit early at the entry of the box.
Okay, well, without further ado, let's get in and take a look at the race as it unfolded. Okay, gentlemen, we can take a look now at the race. And this is, I think, about 2 minutes and 17 seconds to go before the start. And Japan still tinkering away. But you're lining up to enter the box here. What happened here, Tom?
Yeah, we've been having a few issues with our software in a couple of our races. And we got our timing wrong. And we have a backup system to the software, but we got our timing a couple of seconds wrong. And when you get a penalty, it doesn't really say what for initially. You just have a big flashing sign saying penalty. And so we were saying, what was it for? And then eventually it comes up and says over the radio, they say you entered too early. So in this situation, we were just thinking, okay, how do we best get rid of this? And in the end, we just thought, well, a penalty, we just have to get behind them off the start. So we decided not to engage and just start low, and we were going to try to come up fast behind them and be close to them at the reach mark.
In essence, it couldn't have started worse for you, could it?
It could have started worse. I mean, for sure, a penalty is not ideal, and it was never my intention. It was my mistake. But what it did do is it set us up that we were only just behind them at the first mark, which is where we had to be no matter what. And as long as you're not giving away a lot of extra meters at that start, then you're usually okay.
Philippe, you've coached America's Cup teams. You've had an incredibly successful sailing career in your own right. How has the data analysis evolved over the years in the role it plays in modern sailing?
Oh, it's been huge. my first experience of America's Cup, we were gathering a couple of datas, but end of the campaign, if you have 1 gigabyte of data, it would be 4 years of collecting. But nowadays, every day I come back with 1 terabyte data every day with the video, with all the data on board. So, and you need to analyze that, and you need to take the best information, because you could be overwhelmed by so much information. So what I try to do is first, as a sailor, listen to what the boys thinking and saying on the water. So that helped me to see what they're looking for answers, and then me just looking at the boat, the balance of the boat visually, and then after that I go to the data and try to analyze the problems I found. My background is really a sailor, is not an analyst. I know analysts doing the other way around. They're just taking the big pile of data and find solution. I like to do the other way around.
Okay, that's very interesting. Well, we saw there, as you said, Tom, you crossed the line just behind Japan, and then, of course, you tack away. Talk us through the strategy behind that. You always head down the different side of the course, don't you? Just as a standard operating procedure.
For sure. As a boat behind, you definitely want to create distance and leverage against the guy in front. The closer you are, the less chance, I guess, you have of getting different wind. But you can jibe away into no wind. So going into that jibe, I definitely looked over my shoulder and saw that there was good enough wind for us to go there. There wasn't a big hole, so I was happy to separate and then get away from them. And then as we came back together, it was still close. They did a really good job of doing a good jibe with us at the bottom mark, but the game was close. And then as we go on during the race, we just wanted to keep it close, stay in touch, and hope that they gave us a bit of room or made a mistake.
On that rounding there, you could see that Nathan actually shut the door on you. Did you have to slow the boat down at all there, or were you letting that glide in?
No, I didn't have to slow the boat down. I did have to change my angle coming into the mark to try to get a bit better mark rounding. A little bit wider and then coming in tight on the mark to try to give us a lane. But Nathan did a really good job, and he definitely didn't leave any room or an opportunity to make a gain there. So we had to look elsewhere for an opportunity.
I got the sense, Philippe, that a lot of people were looking at Australia throughout the season to see what they could learn from you. And it was almost as if you were leading people through their learning process of the season. But Japan were your closest rivals easily. Was there a sense that you could take some data from them? Were there learnings you took from Nathan and the team?
Always. And not only on the Japan team, the way we approached the season, it was just learning. And of course, some people just get inspired by what we're doing, but we just try to pick what is good on any team. And obviously Japan were doing very good things. And by the way, this leading to this regatta, we just we had a view of, for example, Oracle American team was doing very nice foiling tack. It was maybe a week before the regatta, and we were training against them. We saw foiling tack, and then I pinged it, and I went digging in the data, and we discovered a different way to tack, and that we integrate to our way of sailing the boat, and that make another little jump that I believe helped us in confidence and also in that win. So it's not like straightforward from my perspective. Every time I see, for example, in this view, I saw something at the bottom mark, I will go to the data and I will analyze what they did, and we try to see if we can implement that to our technique.
Okay, Tom, we're coming up to what is arguably the crux of this race now, that gate 3 rounding, where Nathan's just in front of you. But do you think it was a mistake on Nathan's part, or do you think it was pure luck on the wind shifts that came on this fourth leg?
I think Nathan was pretty unlucky. I think if we were in his shoes, there's a good chance we would have gone to the left-hand gate. as you could see, it was a little bit further downwind, so a little bit closer mark for them. It meant they did one less maneuver. But they did set up for an early jibe, but I think, well, hindsight's a great thing. They should have rolled straight into the jibe immediately around the mark. We all have the boat handling capabilities to be able to turn on that mark and roll straight into it, heading down into a jibe immediately. And just by them holding on for another 100 meters, 150 meters, it opened up the course and gave us a bit more leverage again. And it just opens the door, and we're just looking for a little slight crack in the door, just a little bit of an opportunity, and then the game's on for us, really. We're never going to overtake them in boat speed, so we need leverage, we need maneuverability, and a bit of leverage is the most important thing.
And at this point, you've just jibed again. Have you anticipated what's going to come from Nathan?
Philippe will know about this, but we analysed this scenario we debated it back and forth about 100 times the morning of this race. We knew he was going to jibe with us, but he left it probably 2 seconds late. And in giving us 2 seconds, it allowed us to get bow forward and have an opportunity to take the inside. He wanted to defend against the inside, so he came up aggressively at us. But he was probably half a second late in doing that. And I think you can hear me on the communications. I said, we've got a chance for the inside here, go fast. And then when I said he's coming up, I don't think I said it, but I remember thinking he's late. I didn't know it was only going to be, whatever it was, 60, 70 centimetres. I thought he wasn't even going to get that close, but he did get very close to getting a penalty on us. But fortunately for us, we were safe, and he then had to do a hard manoeuvre and get out of there.
And so what was your role in that, Philippe? Tom mentioned there that you'd had them drilling those scenarios. How does that play out for you?
The way we try to work is we try to identify scenarios when the boat meet at the bottom gate, for example, and we try to have different setup. And I'm questioning them, asking, this scenario, what do you want to do? And this scenario, are you feel more comfortable? Are you strong? Which boat is strong? So starting from the end, we try to rebuild the story back in the time. So and then when we discover plays, we call that plays. We build a playbook, which is a bottom mark. You want to do this, and if he does that, that's your answer, and that's your backup plan. That's your plan B, plan C. So we try to have this sort of a discussion all together, and to make it live, I question them and say, "Yep, what do you think about that?" And every time I see a new move, or they see a new move, we brought that up, and it's a kind of open discussion, and that's how we're talking about tactics.
We can see this replay here, Tom. Can you remember how you felt in that moment? Did that feel like a decisive blow for you?
I think in the live stream you actually had my heart rate monitor hooked up to me there, and I think I usually cruise around at sort of 70, 80 beats per minute, and I didn't do anything physical, and my heartbeat went up. By the time we turned around the bottom mark, I was 150, 160. So my heartbeat doubled. Just pure adrenaline. As soon as we got the inside, were able to take that mark, I turned and saw them off the foil, and that was when my heart started going through the roof, because I realised that was a huge moment. We now have the upper hand, and we've got one leg to go. And it was nervous times. It was very hard to see where the marks were and where the finish line was, but this moment right here, as soon as it came up on our screen that Australia has finished, was a lot of joy.
It's, for all of you, there was so much work from the very first elements of testing way back in November 2018 right through to September 2019. It was an incredibly intense year, getting to know the F50 inside and out, and then sailing in all of these different venues, trying to gather all of the data and learn from each other. I mean, it's almost impossible to sum it up and put it in one sentence. But what did it mean to you crossing the line there and taking that win?
This is unbelievable. I say it a lot, whether it was the Olympics or the America's Cup or SailGP, but a lot of relief. What we did at SailGP with a full season of racing, a different style with fleet racing and match racing, and then it all coming down to the last race and $1 million winner takes all. Even if you've led the whole season, we won 4 out of 5 regattas, but it didn't matter heading into that last regatta. And I remember when they set the rules and said, look, it's the top 2 are going to go into a match race and winner takes all. Nothing matters for the whole year. It's going to come down to one race. And I remember just thinking, this is crazy. Like, this is madness. How can we do this? Like, $1 million, we don't get prize money in sailing. So I haven't even competed for $1,000. And all of a sudden, the first time I'm competing for prize money, it's $1 million. I'm steering a team and leading a team. I definitely felt the pressure. And then being the top team most of the year, just when we went across the line and we looked around and we saw that Australia has crossed the line and we won and we sort of did what we set out to do. It's just like you've got a huge weight pack on your back and you just feel like you can just take it off and you can relax again. And it's a great feeling.
Philippe, from your perspective, you've nearly seen it all in sailing, I'd imagine, from the Olympics and the America's Cup right through to SailGP. How did that race compare as an emotional roller coaster for you?
that was pretty intense, and especially because we were up to the top of the course, so the visual was very hard for the chase boat, and the move at the bottom. I saw it coming, but I was not really sure what happened. And Kinley with us is a backup sailor, and he's awesome. And it was with me, and he was trying to pitch me what was happening. I was, and then when it was obvious that we ran the quad gate and we didn't have a penalty, it was a big relief, and that was awesome. But this intensity, that's what you're looking for. You know, if you want to make the sport interesting for medias and also for players, because we're coming from all this story of sailing where you have to stagger your results for a full season, and this is different. You know, when you're running the 100 meter at the Olympic game, which is a pinnacle of the Olympics, I believe, and you know, you've got 10 seconds to perform, and I think going that path is very good, and people are like that.